In today's video, we're going to be talking about securing your front door properly. See here on the bottom, we do have a lock on this bottom handle, but this is more for aesthetic or for visual purposes. This really does not give you any proper security. The real security is always going to be where the deadbolt is, and that's because it actually extends enough to go into the door jamb. If you're looking at your door jamb, you have your trim right here. Behind the trim, there's a piece of wood that goes right here on the side. And what happens oftentimes is when you purchase the locks from your local hardware store, they come with these little small screws. So if somebody was to put some pressure on your door, if they were trying to pry it open, they literally only need to struggle with this little screw that's securing your latch. What I see oftentimes is if there's a screwdriver or crowbar, they are able to push the door out enough to separate the latch and allow it to pop open. In this case, you can see there wasn't a lot of effort involved in this. They were able to just put a crowbar or screwdriver in and apply a little bit of blunt force to it and just literally pop the door open. A lot of people, and I'm guilty of this as well, if you're in a rush, you just put the lock on your bottom door, you don't even secure the deadbolt, and then you just kind of close your door, grab the handle, and make sure it's locked. But that's not properly securing or protecting yourself from any type of invasion. You can see here, they used enough force to literally bend the frame of the door. If you're going to properly secure your door, even when your deadbolt goes into the frame, you don't want to use these small screws. You want to use these long screws that will actually secure into the wood stud. Now the reason is, if the person applies any type of force, they're going to have a very difficult time because you're secured to the stud behind your door jamb. Even in working in your local police department task force, they'll often tell you that you need to put these longer screws because this will deter the intruder from entering the apartment easily, your house, your home, your condo. The more they struggle, it leaves them more vulnerable for someone to see while they're there struggling or trying to apply pressure to your door. You can see here on the deadbolt, they did have a security latch, and the screws do go all the way into the wood stud. You can see it there. They did properly secure the door jamb, and you can see whoever was using the tool, this looks like a screwdriver, they were unable to penetrate or apply force to the door jamb itself. A lot of times in my experience, if you don't have any security or reinforcement on your door jamb, they will easily penetrate it. This is a metal door jamb. So what happens is, and I've seen it often, is if they apply enough pressure and they don't have this reinforcement, they will bend the frame and push it in, and this will allow them to get a screwdriver to push the deadbolt in. In this situation, they were unable to apply enough pressure to bend this, and so what they did was they ended up applying the pressure to the door itself. At this point, the problem wasn't the door jamb, the problem or the weak point was the door. And you can see here, they were able to properly put enough pressure, which caused the door to split. And this is a significant split. I mean, you can see it went all the way down to the bottom. Now, the way that you properly reinforce your door is by purchasing this door guard. And a lot of times what happens is, if you have this door guard on the door, even if they put something in between the door and the door jamb, if you have the reinforcement on the door jamb, they're going to have a very difficult time trying to penetrate or apply pressure because now you've properly secured your door as well. Again, this is just a basic door guard that I purchased at the hardware store. They do have different ones where you can do both the deadbolt and the bottom handle. For some reason, more and more, I'm not seeing the double ones. I'm only seeing these single ones. It's getting more difficult to find. I reached out to a few manufacturers, and this is kind of where they're going now with these single ones. But even still, as I said, if you really wanted to get to the bottom, you just need a little screwdriver to push this in a little bit. Or I've seen people use cards where you put it in and push it. Really, you want to secure, you want to reinforce where the deadbolt is. And this is exactly what you're doing when you put one of these on your door. You can see here, I pulled the deadbolt out. And you can see there's no damage to the deadbolt. And this just indicates to me that the deadbolt was not in the lock position. Generally, when there's an issue, you will see some type of bending here on the shaft or the lock mechanism that goes into the door jamb. Whereas if you look here at the bottom latch, you can definitely see this is where the pressure was. And again, this is the new door that I installed. Again, what they'll basically do is you have the door latch here, they'll stick the screwdriver inside and put enough pressure to insert it like this, and then they'll just use the rest of their body to kind of penetrate here. And you can see that's where the bending went on the old door. And if you look here, this is the weather stripping that was inserted. You can see even on the weather stripping, this is where they kind of rip it out, and just enough to slide it, get it right on the latch, put enough pressure where it decompresses, and then they'll just basically with their body push it in. This is why it's so important that you put on your deadbolt whenever you're exiting the premises. Now, the first thing I like to do whenever I'm installing my door guard is I like to just make sure that we have enough clearance in between the door and the jamb, just enough to allow you to open and close the door without any issues. And you can see this one will have no issues with opening and closing our door. What I'm going to do here, I'm just making my pilot marks, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little drill bit and basically just make my pilot holes. I don't like to use the screw and go right through because it will cause cracking on the door. These are the small screws that come with the packaging. We're going to discard those. And here I'm going to use something a little bit longer, and this is just going to be long enough to go right into the door without affecting the mechanics of the deadbolt. I don't want to use these long ones because what will happen is it'll interfere with your deadbolt when you install it. Here we're going to put our latch in first. Now keep in mind, because we're going to be using this single one, it is going to block the bottom just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the bottom latch, and then I will install the knob over the door guard. And I actually kind of like that method because without you trying to, you're actually putting a little bit of extra security here at the bottom, securing your door. So that's the only way we can get this done, installed, and we'll go ahead and finish that. So once you do this, you're going to take your screws and you're going to put it right here, do your pilot holes, and then you'll put your latch here on the bottom. Once both latches are installed, you're going to take the door guard and you're going to put it right over, and you're going to secure the exterior of the door guard and put screws right through the latch here. This is going to be the finished product. Again, I do like this because not only is this reinforcing your deadbolt from any type of pressure that is applied to the door itself, you also have the end part of this tucked in behind the doorknob, so there's not going to be any prying on this end either. At this point, you just want to make sure the door closes, that you have clearance, and here you can see the lock does go in easily. This is going to be your exterior view, and you can see even like this, it looks much more secure. If this video was a help, if it was informational, please subscribe.